What's up, y'all? I was trying to make sure we're live. You heard that, the background noise. That was my phone going off. We are live. So we're on. We're live. A little bit of a delay. But y'all come on in the room. We're back here at the Fryar Place where the conversations are fire. I am Irving Fryar. I'm the host with the most. Yup, here at the Fryar Place. Got my Kelly Green on today. Football season getting ready to start. The Eagles have a game tomorrow. We'll be there. The Legends, they call it the Legends game. So they invite all of us former players who used to play for the Eagles. We played a year. It doesn't matter. Played 10 years. It doesn't matter. They invite us back, and they take care of us. They introduce us at halftime. It's a nice little get together. Get a chance to see some of your former teammates that you haven't seen for a while, and you got free food and free drinks and all that kind of stuff. So that's always nice too. But y'all come on in the room. I see there's a few of you who are watching right now. Please acknowledge yourself. Please let me know who it is. Put your name in the comments. Say hi, say boo, say shut up, say something else. All right, doesn't matter what you say something. Please make sure you let folk know about the show. We want you to hit the like button. Yep. We want you to hit the share button. Please do. We want you to hit the subscribe button, please. And make sure you make a comment while you're watching. We have a great, different. It's different. This is not a sports so-called centered show. This is a people show, the Fryar Place, where the conversations are fire. We talk about the challenges of life. Everyone we have on, whether it's a Hall of Fame sports personality or whether it's a psychotherapist, we talk about the challenges that come in our lives and the victories that follow. That's what we do. Serena, my wife put shut up. I said say shut up. She put shut up. Thank you very much, sweetheart. You want me to be quiet? How dare you? My God. Is anybody else watching right now besides my wife? Somebody else put a comment to remove the negativity out of that comment. Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all. I see a bunch of you in my clicker. You're watching, whether you're watching right now at the Fryar Place or whether you're watching on my Facebook page, you can still comment and I can see your comment. So please do comment. But now, before we get to our guest, we got bills to pay. All right, y'all check this out.
Are you planning a special trip or a night out? Don't bother with the hassle of driving, parking, and traffic. Just call Ed Smooth Transport. One-way or round trips available. We will take you there, and we will also pick you up. Enjoy a night on the town with Ed Smooth Transport. Call us 609-471-2653 or 609-314-6619. Visit our website to take advantage of our monthly specials at www.smooftransport.com. Ed Smooth Transport, where experience meets comfort.
In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, there's a slightly slower pace of living. That's also where you'll find the home of Stoltz Fish Structures, where quality, integrity, and world-class customer service are more than just a way to do business. It's a way of life. From our humble beginning over 40 years ago in a small building, to the modern 65,000 square foot facility of today, we've remained at the forefront of our industry. Everything from gazebos and sheds to garages and pergolas, and everything in between.
We are back. Oh, let me take that off. We're back. My wife's asking me, where's your guest? Can you just wait a minute and let me do the show? I always just want to be the boss all the time. This is my show. I know it says Fryar and has your last name, but it is my show, all right? Y'all, I'm going to introduce my guest. I've known this cat now probably, I think it's been somewhere around 6 or 7 months. It hasn't been quite a year, but he's a very passionate man, a very sincere man. We've grown to be close friends over this short period of time, and I thought it was time for him to come on the show. He started talking about some of his experiences in his life the other day. And I said, you know what? You need to come on my show because that's very intriguing. It's very interesting. And people need to hear your story. So I'm not going to prolong it anymore. He was born in Okinawa. Yeah, Okinawa, Japan, on an Air Force base. Kadena, I believe it's Kadena is how they call it. Kadena Air Force Base. He has a lot to do with what's going on with Hollis Thomas and myself. You've been watching posts of Hollis and I. We have a show called Vetted, and we're going to be kicking it off September 12th out in Reading. This is the man that actually got this whole ball rolling in that direction all the way out in Reading. but no, with no further ado, I'm going to introduce to you Scot with it one T Teller. Scot with one T Teller. What's going on, Scot?
What's up?
Uh-oh.
Thanks for having
there?
me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, make sure I can hear you, man. Let me I gotta get some applause for you. Wait a second. Here you go. There you go.
I wanna first I need to say hi to Serena.
Oh.
Look at her if she can hear me.
She can
Beautiful
hear you.
Serena, how you doing?
She can hear you. She's in another room.
Okay.
She can hear
All
you.
right.
Trust me, she can hear you. So man, welcome to the show. I'm looking forward to this conversation. There's so much about you that we can talk about. We probably are going to have you on for a part 2 because we're not going to be able to get through all of it today. I mean, just watching the clip that you sent me that's about your life story, man, it's just I was watching it and I began to get emotional because I think you can, and along with a lot of us, can identify with those situations that you had to deal with, that you were able to overcome, that you're proud of, that you talk about. We all have issues and challenges in our lives, and to be, the story we want to hear is the one who has the comeback, the one who is the overcomer, the one who was down but gets back up and makes it again. You were born in Okinawa. We're not even going to get into what you're doing now yet, but we want to take a journey. We want to take a quick journey up to right now, if we can. Why don't you start out? Because I can't even imagine. I know you. I've talked to you on a frequent basis. There's no way I would have ever guessed that you were born in Japan. So take us through that. What was it like, and when did you come over to the States? How old were you when you came over to the States? What was it like being in Japan, being born in Japan?
So I'm half Okinawan. My mother's full 100% Okinawan. My father was in the Air Force. Mm-hmm. My father's Greek Italian. Met my mom.
Wow, you got a serious mixture in you, don't you? Greek Italian and Okinawan.
Rare, right? It's rare.
That almost rhymes. Greek Italian, Okinawan. Greek Italian, Okinawan.
Yeah. So my grandfather was. I always tell people he was the original Mr. Miyagi. He was a well-known karate master. Got my father involved. So I was born there. Yep, born in the karate family. Started when I was 3 years old. And that was our life, man. That was about 10, 11 years old is when I moved to the States, and we went back and forth, in military life. So that's how it went. Yeah.
So maybe I should have you around. You're working as the executive producer of our show, Vetted. Maybe you should be the bouncer.
Did you see those guys with the shoulder pads? And
I saw the guys with the shoulder pads. Yeah, but maybe you should be the bouncer because you're the one you remember the U.S. karate team.
Yes.
When was that?
That was 88, 92, man. I was a young kid. That's how this all started for me. Herschel Walker, actually a good friend of mine. So
okay, tell the story. Tell the story, man.
So Herschel was on the U.S. bobsled team. I was on the U.S. karate team.
Okay.
So Herschel's first love was always karate. So back then, special teams captain was Kenny Rose. When Herschel signed with the Eagles, back then they had phone books, so you could easily look somebody up in the phone book, right?
Did you look?
So, yeah, remember those days?
Yeah, I remember those days.
So when Herschel signed with the Eagles, looked me up, but got my parents' phone number. I was living with a couple friends. We had an apartment. So Herschel called my parents, got my number. He wanted to train.
Uh-huh.
So my dad gave him my number. We connected, and then I was going down to the old vet and working out. So then at
Wow.
the end of the season, Willie T,
William Thomas. Yeah.
William Thomas. So he's the godfather of my two kids,
Hmm.
and his son Noah is my godson. So we were really tight back then.
Okay.
And Willie T, after his rookie season, was talking to Kenny Rose and Herschel, and asked them, like, for some veteran advice. And
Hmm.
Herschel wrote down my name and number on a piece of paper and gave it to him and says, "This off season, train with this guy, train with this kid, this
Hmm.
little kid." I was about $120 back then.
Okay.
So William called me up, and the rest is history, man. And that's how my relationship went with the Eagles all these years. So
Okay,
we
but
started.
yeah, but that's a connection, because I'm gonna shift a little bit. That's a connection in sports with baseball, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm sorry, with
I owe
football.
everything to karate.
With football, you got the connection to football through Willie T, through Herschel Walker. How did you make the transition? Because your story is, or part of your story is, you spent 6 years as a catcher on the farm team, but for the Phillies organization, you spent 6 years there as a catcher.
So I was always an athlete. You got to have some kind of talent, right?
Hmm.
So,
That's you right. That's you right there, man. That's the real deal. You look pretty official in that picture.
Look at my eyes, man. I'm locked in right there.
Yeah, check the eyes out. Yeah.
So yeah, spent 6 years. Great time. Made a lot of great relationships that I still have today.
How did you get there? How did the baseball start for you? Because you were doing karate.
I was doing karate. Got invited for a tryout. They needed somebody to catch in the bullpen, and I went out there. And the first night I was there, Brad Lidge was there doing a rehab assignment, and they told me to go catch Brad Lidge. And if you can catch that slider, so just things, I stuck around for a while, and then more opportunities just kept coming. I mean, it's a, what do you call it? It's a miracle story how I got involved with the Phillies. I mean, it's a cool story, and then I stuck around for 6 years.
How did you when did you start playing baseball?
So 2012, when did I start playing baseball? When I was a little kid on the Air Force base.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you were doing baseball and karate. You were doing baseball and karate. Gotcha.
I was like a pitcher every year, which I hated.
Hmm.
And I was on every all-star team. I mean, baseball just came naturally to me. And I owe everything to karate, to be honest with you. With the discipline, the hand-eye coordination, like karate complements, in my opinion, everything, not just sports, everything in every day in life. Which everything that I went through, if I didn't have that background, that karate background, I don't even know if I'd be here today, to be honest with you. I mean, we can go into that.
Don't go there yet. We're going to get into it.
I'm trying not to. But when I spent 6 years with the Phillies,
Right.
In the minor leagues, I actually had businesses too. I had pizza shops, and that I operated during the season.
There's the pizza shop.
I had
Look, you said it. There's the there you are making pizza.
Yeah, I miss it. I'm gonna make you one.
You gonna make me one?
I'm gonna make you one.
So you had a number of pizza shops. You had a number of pizza shops, didn't you?
I had 10 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, I had 10 of them. At one point, I had 10 of them. Yeah. And then I lost them all. I was a single dad with full custody. During my years with baseball, just burning the candle from both ends, chasing a dream, and fighting for custody of my kids. So it was a battle. It was a tough battle.
Okay. Well, you keep edging that way. I wanted. We'll talk about your acting skills and all that stuff after we talk about this, but I want to show this. I want to shout out to Michelle Cephas. What's going on, Michelle? Serena's still watching. I got a bunch of y'all. My number's up high here, but you all are not acknowledging yourself. Can y'all say who's watching right now? Just say hi. All right. Don't say shut up like my wife said, but just say hi so I know who's watching right now. It's good to know, that's why we go live, because, that way there's interaction. I can shout out to you all. If you all have a question for any guest that we have while we're live, you can throw a Q up and a semicolon, capital Q, semicolon, and ask your question. And that way I'll know, my eyes will drift towards that question. Serena says, yeah, I love pizza. We know you love pizza.
I got you, Serena. I got you.
But you all, that's why we do this, so that we can interact with you all live to a certain extent. I mean, the show still must go on, but we want to be able to interact with you to make it interesting and answer any questions you may have after hearing the stories. But I want to show this clip real quick of you, Scott. And his name is spelled right, you all. That's the first time I've ever met anyone named Scott who didn't spell their first name or the name Scott with 2 T's. That is spelled right. That's not a typo on my part. There's nothing wrong with that. Just want to make sure you all know that's the truth. My mother's watching. Mama's watching. Okay, thank you for putting your name up. Shirley is in the house. Is that Eagle Shirley?
Eagle Shirley.
Eagle Shirley is in the house. Yep, it's Eagle Shirley. She said, hello, fam. Hey, Shirley, how you doing? Listen, I'm going to throw this video up real quick. You all listen to this, and then we're going to come back and have Scott expound on it, all right? Check it out.
Just that I had none, I felt like a failure as a father to my kids. Here they are laying in a pile of clothes as a bed. What happened next was just not a good situation. I was sitting there just thinking to myself, like, I'm done. I got up from the table. I took the long walk back in the dark, and I was going to say goodbye to my kids. And I remember there wasn't even a door. I walked in the room, and I saw my son there laying on the pile of clothes. That was the hardest, and that was rock bottom for me. I had no one to turn to, and I was just ready. I was just done with life. Two things happened next. First, my son, watching him, saved my life, because something just slapped me upside the head and said, don't do this to your kid. And what happened next was, and honest to God, it was Rocky. As crazy as it sounds. I looked down on my wrist and I saw that the bracelet, and I got myself up. I got myself enough courage to grab the phone, and I called my dad. And 4 o'clock in the morning, I called my dad, and I told my dad I needed him. And he knew right away. Just asked me where I was. He came over, I waited for him, and he got my kids, and took me to the hospital. But honest to God, I looked down, and that bracelet, it just saved my life. From that moment on, man, I just did everything the right way. It was still a struggle, but I did what I had to do, and I got stronger, I got better, I got myself back to listening to the Rocky music, which was always just hearing the first beat in the Rocky music just makes you just want to run through a wall in a good way. And that's what I did. I got myself together. I'm not perfect, but I'm a lot better today than I was that day, and it was for my kids, and that's why Rocky to me is just everything. Whenever I'm down.
Woo. When you're, what's going on? Back it up. Binge podcast. I see you. He's in the house. I'm getting choked up listening to you in that video, and there's more. I just stopped it, like midway through, because you were struggling.
That's actually on Amazon Prime. Fight Story 2. It's a documentary, but yeah.
You were actually struggling getting through it, telling the story, because it was almost as if in your mind you were reliving some of what you were trying to articulate, some of what you were trying to share in terms of the information or the journey that that you had taken, that you had, the rough time. You were actually suicidal, it sounded like.
That's exactly
take us. Would you take us back to the beginning of that, where all of that started, and what transpired that got you to that place, to where you had to come to grips with, okay, am I going to end this for myself? I'm looking at my kids. No, I'm not. I'm going to move forward. I'm going to fight. I'm going to do whatever I have to do because of my kids. And people who are suicidal, that's one of the things that those of us who have taken training on suicidal prevention, that's one of the critical things that we bring up if we run across or come across someone who is suicidal, is trying to help them to find a reason to live. And in and of yourself, without any help, without any assistance, it came up inside of you. You found a reason to live, and it was your kids. But take us back, if you could, to the beginning of that whole spiral downward. What happened, and how did you get to that point?
You know what? So first of all, like when you're wearing a uniform, like a Phillies uniform, or you're in front of thousands of people on TV, people look at you differently, and they put you on a different level. Okay, so, and I don't care who you are, you become accustomed. That becomes a big part of your life. And when all that is taken away from you, and what I mean by that is every great thing has to come to an end. So when you stop playing sports at a high level, whatever, and it's hard. It's you got to transition. It's a big adjustment. In my case, I I had to fight for custody of my kids. Um, I have two kids. Almost my kids' entire life, I had full custody of my kids, which is very rare. A father having full custody of
Mm-hmm.
kids,
Right.
and that was not an easy battle. So that took a lot of my money with the lawyers and everything, and took a lot of um, my time, which I'd go back and do it all over again. But um, with all that going on, I had to change. I had to change direction in life. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't go out and keep playing baseball or chasing my dream and all that because my number one priority was being a dad. So luckily, I had a guy that offered me to take me under his wing, which is a whole different show.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause everything he told me was a bunch of lies. I mean, he told me I was going to make six figures. I was going to own my own pizza shops, this and that, and it really took advantage of me. I mean, I was working 7 days. Now remember, I was a full-time dad with full custody, working 7 days for $6 an hour, open to close for 7 days because I had to learn the business because he said, you're going to have your own business. I'm going to set you up and all this stuff. So what he did was he set me up, but he
Yeah.
didn't set me up the right way. So I ended up, long story short, I ended up losing everything, the shirt off my back. They took my kids' furniture right in front of my kids. Lost my house, lost my cars, everything I had. I was down to one pizza shop left, which in the beginning of that clip, it explains that we were living in the back of one of my last pizza shop and with no furniture.
Mm-hmm.
So I would make a bed of their clothes and make a big pile so they had something soft to sleep in. During this time, I hurt some people. I'm going to keep it honest. I know I hurt some people because I was in survival mode.
Hurt people, hurt people. Yeah.
And when I say people, I'm talking about my family. You know what I mean? Because I was changing as a person. I was struggling, man, and I was being probably selfish, but I was just struggling. Like I said, I was in survival mode. So my parents and I at one point we didn't talk for almost 6 months. My father's old school. He's all about tough love. You know what tough love is.
Mm-hmm.
I got to figure it out myself.
Right.
So we went 6 months. So in that clip, it says, when I picked up the phone and I reached out to my dad, that was after I haven't spoken to him for 6 months.
And he
So
answered the
that
phone.
felt hard. That was hard.
And he answered the phone 4 o'clock in the morning.
He answered the phone 4 o'clock in the morning, almost like he was just waiting for that phone
Uh
call.
huh. Uh huh.
You know what I mean? And looking back on it today, I love that moment. That's the moment that probably gets me choked up the most. Um, I'm dealing with a lot with my dad right now because I lost my mom last year. He's going through a lot right now. So,
Mm-hmm.
I hope I can give back right now. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so look, getting back on track. So, yeah, so that time um, was some bad investments, man. I ended up losing everything, struggling, and just I was at my end. I was really at my end. So I was sitting on a table in the front of the restaurant, watching the cars drive by,
Mm-hmm.
and 4 o'clock in the morning, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, because I couldn't sleep, and I just knew, like I didn't know what to do. I really didn't know what to do. I was at that point, and um, you know, I took that long walk back, man, and I just looked at my kid, and the Rocky thing was Rocky's been my inspiration since day one. Still remember the day my dad took me to go see that movie
Uh huh.
when I was living in Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of the things where my dad says to me and my brother, he's taking us to the movie because he wants to show us this movie that my dad's from South Philly because this movie was made where I was raised.
Uh huh.
So I said, okay, I was 6 years old, 6, 7 years old, went in the movie theater and boom, watched that movie and it changed my life, man. So when I competed at a high level karate, I would come out to the Rocky music. The names of my pizza shop was Rocky's Pizza and Grill and
Rocky's
Papa Rocco.
Pizza,
Yeah,
Rocco's.
and I had Papa Rocco.
Papa
So everything
Rocco.
that was my inspiration, man. So I wore this bracelet that I made myself,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it said, "What would Rocky do?" And I did that because I always he was my inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I was down or something, what would Rocky do? And that night, that bracelet saved my life, man. I looked
So
down.
no, go ahead. I thought you were
I
finished.
looked down and saw this bracelet, and I looked at Jagger, and I said, well, what am I doing here? You know? So I just got up, made that phone call to my dad, and I'm gonna tell you this. Um, I'm not the only one that's been going through stuff like this. To me, the measure of a man
Mm-hmm.
is a guy, a man, a person, a father, a brother, whatever, a man that went through some type of adversity and picked himself up and came out of it. To me, that's
Mm-hmm.
the measure of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's and it happens to everybody. It
Mm-hmm.
happens to all of us. We've all been through something, you know. So that's been my life. I mean, I
So let me
everything
ask you
turned around.
this. Let me
Yeah,
ask you this.
sure.
Two things. Two things. So, do you think that it's because I can identify with certain aspects of your story.
Hmm.
So, do you think that it's easier or harder to have and then lose it, or to never have at all?
Man, that's a good question. Both actually. You know what I mean? I think it's just how you end up, what you do with it.
Hmm.
'Cause I know a lot of people that think they don't have anything, but they do.
But
You
they
know what I
do.
mean?
Well,
Bec-
blessings. All of our blessings are not tangible.
Right.
All of our blessings are not, we can't pick all of our blessings up. We can't touch all of our blessings. All of our blessings are not physical blessings. If you're alive and you're in your right mind, you got a portion of good health, you got a roof over your head, all of those things, you're blessed. If you have a relationship with God, you're blessed. You're a child of God. You're taken care of. He's a keeper. So we get into the aspect of things. We become human havers rather than human beings. Rather than being who God created us to be, we look at what we have, and that adds value or takes away value if we don't have from our lives. And that's not God's intentions for our lives. It has nothing to do with things, but we wrap ourselves around things and we put a lot of value into things. And then when we don't have things, we're not happy. But happy has nothing to do with joy. Happy is based on what's happening. If what's happening is not favorable to me, then I'm not happy. I'm unhappy. But if things are favorable, then I'm happy. But that's got nothing to do with joy. Joy is what we get through our relationship with God. But here's the other question I wanted to ask you. You look back on that situation, and I'm sure you do frequently, probably, because I look back on my situation frequently. It's always there as a reminder to keep me moving forward, to keep me from making the same mistakes, to keep me from going backwards. It pushes me forward. What would you do different in that situation if you had it all to do over again? What parts of those experiences, what things would you do differently?
What I enjoy today, my life's different today because of the circle of friends that I have. I'm married now. I got an amazing wife. You know my wife,
Jen.
Taught me a lot, man. She taught me a lot.
Jen's not watching right now either. Sean Young's watching right now. What's going on, Sean?
Jen was just over there. She just waved at me. So she's.
Oh, she did. Was that her making all that noise in the background?
Yeah, you heard that?
Yeah, we heard. I heard all that noise. Making all that noise.
Yeah. Before pre-Gen, okay. So pre-Gen, I was all about, like I played baseball. I was on the U.S. Olympic karate team. I did a lot of stuff, right? So I had a lot of friends. I had a big circle back then. Mm-hmm. So what I would do differently, what my wife taught me, keep your circle small with positive people.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing how we'll spend a period of time, particularly those of us who who get attention from other people. We're in a position or a job or in a place or in a space that affords us a lot of attention from other people. We sometimes, Serena said, Jen is awesome. Yep, Jen is awesome. You're awesome too, Serena.
He says the same thing about you, Serena.
So we'll start thinking we're somebody. And then God has to allow things to happen in a way so that we find out we're nobody. And then 100%. And then when we hit bottom, then God shows us what he can do with a nobody.
Yep. Yeah. But it's different today because back then, I would walk in a room and look around and make sure who's looking at me, who's paying attention to me and all that stuff. And I say this and I probably sound like an idiot saying this, but I don't care who you are. It happens. You become this person. And what she taught me was, like I said, keep your circle small with positive people. And now I'll walk in the room and I'm looking to see it. I mean, it's a total different walk. You know what I mean? Like I want to see who's there, who's with me, like who's part of my circle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It's positive. But that's the one thing that I would do differently is because that big circle of friends that I was telling you about is what got me in that mess. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just keeping it real.
It's hard to keep your eyes on a whole lot of folk.
Everybody's knocking on your door. Everybody got a handout. Everybody, wants a piece of something, whether you have it or not. And when I met my wife, she noticed that about me. And she put me in my place, man. And she was honest with me and told me. She kept it real with me, and so today I'm looking to keep my circle small with positive people. And but the one thing is, would I go back and change what happened? No, I wouldn't. Um, because what I like, and you probably notice about me now, Irving, is like people that know me and know my story. I They know that I like to give back. I like to give people. I want my close friends to
Mm-hmm.
experience what I. The other
Mm-hmm.
day I asked you if you'd do that video for me for my niece,
Mm-hmm.
um, and that
Did
meant
she
the
like
world.
it? Did she like
She,
it?
oh, she didn't see it yet. She
No.
didn't
Oh,
see
she
it.
didn't see it yet. Okay.
Not
I
perfect
was I
yet.
was saying I
But
started singing and screaming and carrying on.
it was perfect. It was awesome. Her dad loved it. But you know what I mean? Like I'm blessed. I have friends in my circle that could help other people.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take that much. You know what I mean? It doesn't cost a thing. It's just it's giving back to people, and that's what I love to do. That's what I'm about today, and that's why with the show Vetted, those guys, that group of fans that we have as part of the
Mm-hmm.
show,
Mm-hmm.
man, that's awesome.
It's
You
gonna
know
be
what I
up.
mean?
Yeah, it's gonna be off the chain. We're gonna be off the
Yeah,
chain. It's gonna
yeah,
be really good. Well, listen, we're gonna take a break for a
yeah.
commercial, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about we're gonna move forward because we don't want to stay in the past. You know,
Yeah.
when you're driving, you have your side view mirrors, you have your windshield that's in front of you, and you have your rear view mirror, right? So in your rear view mirror is small. Why? Because you're supposed to just glance at the rearview mirror. And your windshield is big. Why? Because you're supposed to gaze at where you're going. You're only supposed to glance at where you came from. You're supposed to gaze at where you're going. But many of us are gazing where we should be glancing and glancing where we should be gazing. And
I love it.
don't forget the side view mirrors. The side view mirrors say what? The objects in this mirror may be closer than they appear. So that don't forget about what happened in the past,
Sure.
because
Yeah.
it'll creep up and get you if you allow it to before you know it, because it's
Yep.
closer than you think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
We may
So
have
true.
escaped. Yeah, we may have escaped it, but it's still back there. It's still back there. So we're gonna
Keep
do.
moving forward.
Yep, keep moving forward. So we're gonna do this commercial. I got a couple of commercials. I got a couple of reads. Just bear with me, brother. We'll come back and we're gonna talk about your acting career. Yes. All right, y'all check this out. All right. Stolefish Structures. Stolefish Structures is a 49-year-old family business. Yes. Stolefish Structures is a storage shed and garage company located in the heart of the Amish country. Yes, yes, yes. They ship structures nationwide. You can check them out on mysheds.com. They strive to be the undisputed choice of modular garages, sheds, and outdoor living products in the United States while furthering the kingdom of God. Yes, love that. Stolefish Structures is known for their fast delivery, great quality, and great client service. So if you're looking for a garage or a shed or any kind of outdoor living product, Stolefish Structures is the way to go. Check them out on mysheds.com. And guess what? Stolefish Structures is having a pre-Labor Day sale. Good God Almighty. Yep. Pre-Labor Day sale, August 26th through August 30th. So if you buy $1,000 through $3,000, $1,000 to $3,000 worth of shed, worth of merchandise, you get $150 of free options. $3,000 to $6,999, you get $250 of free options. $7,000 to $9,999, you get $350 of free options, and $10,000 or more, you get $500 of free options. Y'all mention, in order to get that discount, mention this ad to take advantage of these offers. This is Stolefish Structures. You can find them on mysheds.com. We're back in the house. That's a lot of reading, man. That's a lot of reading.
Got a shed too, man. I wish I knew that.
You just got a shed? Oh. Wow. Jen's in the house. Jen Teller is in the house. What's going on, Jen? Everybody says hi. Sean Young's in the house. We say hi to Sean. Shirley, Eagle Shirley's in the house. Billy Bell. What's going on, Billy Bell? Who else is in the house? Back It Up. Binge Podcast is still here. He's flowing in the house. My mama's here. And Michelle Cephas is in the house. So, you are an actor. I don't know how you got involved in acting. Maybe you just wanted to get out of the house from the kids. Let me ask you that first. How the kids doing? How the kids doing? I know you're doing okay. How are your kids doing? How old are they? What are they doing?
So Jagger's living actually in Northern Liberties in the city, Philadelphia. Graduated from Temple.
Nice.
He has an amazing job. He's risk management. He's an insurance broker. Loves what he's doing. Jersey, my daughter, who's 20 years old, be 21 in December, will be, by the way, Jagger's 22. So Jersey's going to welding school.
Wow.
College wasn't for her. She decided, I want to go to welding school, which caught me off guard, but you know what? I'll support it. You know what I mean? As long as she has a plan, and she says she loves it. So go ahead, Jersey.
That's wow. A woman welder. A female with a blowtorch. That's I don't know. I'm stay away from her.
She's an amazing young girl, man.
Don't mess with her. Yeah, man. That's great. That's great. Yeah. So how did you get into acting? Because that's what you're doing now. You went, you started in karate, and then you went to baseball, or you were playing baseball while you were playing doing karate, but you played baseball. You went from baseball to doing pizzas, and then going pizzas. Now you're acting. You are actually in some really good movies, Creed 2 and 21 Bridges, and I didn't watch. Was it Army of the Dead? I didn't watch that. But you got a chance to be with people like Michael B. Jordan and Chadwick Boseman and Sylvester Stallone. My goodness.
So Sly's my guy. I'm loyal.
Sly is your guy. Can we get him on the podcast? Can we get him? Can we get him on the podcast? We're going to. Okay, I got you on tape. Okay, this is being recorded. So I got you on tape saying that Sly is your guy. Now I need to get you on tape saying that you're going to help me get him on the podcast. You think you'll do the podcast for you? Ed Crawley, what's going on, brother?
Man, you know what? I can't go that far to say.
Ask him, man. Just ask him. You got him in your phone right now? You got him in your phone? Is he in your phone? His phone number?
I don't have him on my phone.
Oh, okay.
No. We message through. We'll message through like Instagram and stuff like that.
Okay. We got to try to get him on for a minute, man.
His brother, we could probably get his brother on, Frank. He's
I don't know his brother. I know Sylvester Stallone. I don't want his brother on the podcast. Is his brother famous?
Yeah, yeah,
He is? What does he do?
yeah. He's a singer. He's got what do you call that? Grammy awards.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
From the movie Rocky.
Okay.
He got a couple of those songs, and he's got a couple of songs from the movie Staying Alive with John Travolta. He wrote all. He's
Oh,
got that whole album. Yeah,
okay. So we can
yeah.
get him
Good
on?
dude. I think we could.
Okay. Well, you
We
you
could.
said you like
I
helping.
don't like to
You
make
said you like
promises.
no. You said you like helping people, so help a brother out.
Oh man, I'd do anything for you. You know that. I run through a
I
wall
don't.
for
I
you.
don't want to put that pressure on you. So, how did you get into acting, man? And what was it like? What was it like? Making Creed 2 with Michael B. Jordan, and what was it like in 21 Bridges with Chadwick Boseman? God bless his soul.
Yes.
That his soul would rest in peace.
So can I tell you,
And what is it like standing next to Sylvester Stallone?
man? How much time do we have? Because
You got time. Go ahead. You got time. We don't have a
got
whole
great-
lot of time.
Where do you
But
you want to start with Chadwick Boseman, or let's start with Sly?
Okay, start with Sly.
Because this is how I got into acting. Okay, so I was just supposed to be. At the time, I had a couple pizza restaurants, and it was like right at the beginning when I started realizing, like, you know what, things are not turning out the way they should be. So I was finding things out. I had this pizza shop, and um, everyone that knew me knew that I loved the Rocky saga. Like, that was my inspiration. So they were filming Creed 1 at the time. And I had just opened up a new restaurant. And some friends of mine reached out. I guess they knew a casting director, and they said, hey, this guy, any way we can get him on, even if it's as an extra and all that stuff. So I get a phone call, an email one day, and inviting me to be an extra in Creed 1. So I said, oh wow, like, like, this is a bucket list item for me, like me being in a Rocky movie.
That was a bucket
So
list. You had that in your bucket
list.
list. Wow.
Yeah. So what happened was I told them, yeah, I would love to do it. And they said, Jen, I see Jen's message. And they said,
You're supposed to be talking. I'm just putting the messages up so they can see them.
so they said, we'll let you know what day you're going to come, what day we're going to need you, and all that. So just like stand by. And I said, okay, great. So I was still just opening up a new restaurant. I spent thousands of dollars to send my menus out to like a 5-mile radius.
Right.
So we're talking like over 10,000 homes. My menus were supposed to hit that Friday.
Uh-huh.
I get the call Thursday saying they need me the next day. And I said, wow, so what do I do? Like, do I chase my dream of, or do this bucket list thing and be in a Rocky movie, or I do the right thing and take care of my business, because it would have killed my business if I wasn't there. So I had to turn down the offer. I called him up and I said, I'm sorry, I can't. That's the only day I couldn't do it. But in the industry, you don't make the rules. I mean, you can't, you know what I mean? They tell you where to go.
Right.
So I had to turn it down. So fast forward 2 years or whatever it was, they're filming Creed 2 in the city. And I was dropping my son off to baseball practice, and I hear on the radio that they're filming Creed 2 in the area. And, Sly Stallone, you might see Sly Stallone walking the streets or whatever. So I was like, wow. I went in my phone and went through my emails and found the old email, sent him an email and said, hey, this is Scot Teller again. I'm available. If you could use me, I'd love to do it. I'm not going to turn it down now. If you can use me, whatever. It was just like, I didn't think I was going to hear anything back.
Right.
They ended up, like, an hour later, called me and said, we'd love to have you. And what they meant by, so they told me, all right, what day to come and all that. I pull up in Aston, Pennsylvania. It was Sun Center Studios. I pull up, and there was probably 1,000 cars. I mean, it was probably over that. It was packed. It was like going to an Eagles game. So I'm like, okay. So I'm just going to be an ant. I'm probably not even going to be seen, blah, 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 all that. So I go inside, and I'm waiting in line with hundreds of people. And finally, I get up to the front, and this lady looks at me and hands me this paper and says, go see that lady over there. And I looked at her. I said, I think, you know, I'm not the person you're looking for. Like, I'm in line here with everyone else. She said, take this paper and go see that lady. So I walked up to the lady and I said, hey, that lady sent me over here, blah, blah, blah. She looked me up and down. She goes, I could use you. Anyway, she put me in the first run. So they were doing the mirage of the Russian fighters. Just the, like, Stallone wasn't even there that day. So I'm sitting there in a suit in the front row, and in comes Dolph, Drago. And he's like 5 yards away from me, man.
Wow.
And I was like, I was so happy. I was living out a dream. Even though Sly wasn't.
Was your mouth open? Did you have your mouth open?
Well, probably because what happened was this lady approached me and asked me to, walk with her, and I was like, what did I do? I thought I was getting kicked off set. He goes and takes me up to these other people, and long story short, because I know we don't have too much time, but they said to me, they started talking to me and said, we'd like to offer you a featured role in this movie if you could commit to the next 5 weeks.
Wow.
And I said, what? I'm looking around like, am I getting punked here? So I said, really? So they sent me home and told me 10 o'clock that night that I would get an email of more instructions for the next day. So right on 10 o'clock, man, 9:58, I checked the email. I didn't have one. 10 o'clock, I got that email.
Wow.
The next day, again, long story short, a lot of people and all that stuff, but they were waiting. This time it was different. They were waiting for me. They escorted me in the room. It was another box. It was the end of the fight boxing match. So there were 3 chairs, right next to the ring, and they said, that's your seat right there. So I sit down, and I'm waiting for an hour. All of a sudden,
look, that's good acting, man. That's good acting. Sit down.
Just sit down. Just wait. You know what I mean? So everyone's waving at me that I met the day before. Like, what are you doing? I said, I don't know. Next thing you know, everyone starts clapping and standing up and cheering, and I looked up, and here comes Sylvester Stallone across the room. We're in this big warehouse, right? And I'm looking, I'm like, man, that's him.
That's the man.
So that's the man. So he's like shaking hands with people and talking to the director and this and that, and he's getting closer to me, right? He's getting closer, and I'm like, and then eventually he sits right down next to me.
Wow.
He sits right. I'm in Creed's corner, so that was my role.
Right.
He sits down right next to me. The person next to him was Wood Harris. Remember Wood Harris from the Type? Yeah. Great guy, man.
Wow.
Awesome guy. So I'm sitting next to him, and then I hear Sly's assistant say, the guy next to you used to play for the Phillies. And he goes, who, him? And I looked the other way.
He didn't say it like that. Who, him? He said like that. Who, him?
Yeah, he didn't talk to me. Didn't say a word to me. He just said, who, him? And I looked the other way. I was so nervous. He gets up, writes in his notebook at the ring, turns around, walks up to me, and introduces himself to me. And I just busted up laughing. I was like, I know who you are, man. You've been my idol since I was 6 years old. All this stuff. So long story short, we talked for the next 5 weeks, man. We hit it off to a point where his security lady said, Scott, I've never seen him talk to anybody like he talks to you. Like, he must really like you. And I said, that's crazy. But what it was every time we talked, he was asking me more about me, my story.
Right.
And we got into even the karate part where we talked angles and everything. And I was, bottom line though, Irving, is the reason why they picked me out of thousands of people, we're the same height.
I was going to say, because you're looking at him eye to eye.
we're on. I mean, he might be he might have an inch on me, but we're about the same height.
Yeah.
So they didn't want somebody. So I was in the right place at the right time, and for the first time in my life, my height worked in my favor.
Wow.
So that's how I got into acting, because he was.
Well, your height worked in your favor as a catcher too. You know.
They don't make them like that anymore.
Yeah, the catcher. Yeah, you're a good catcher too.
So he took me under his wing, and we were talking, and I mean, I was living a dream, man. And
that's
then
awesome,
all these
man.
people were wondering who I was because he kept talking to me, and that's how I got my next role, which was a mafia role in a mafia TV show, and 21 Bridges and all that stuff just happened to me. 21 Bridges, that's an Eagle story.
Wow.
With Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, the moral to the story, it's an amazing story, but the moral to the story, and this is for everybody who's listening or who will listen to this podcast, the moral to the story is show up.
Show up.
If you show up, look, that's 80% of it right there. You've got to show up. I know it's a hustle sometimes. I know it can be a hassle sometimes, but it's a true statement: out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. You have to show up. If you expect things to happen in your life, if you expect to go to another level, if you expect to accomplish anything, you got to show up, whether it's on your job, whether it's in your home, whether it's whatever it is you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to do to go to the next level, you have to show up. And you got to show up when you don't feel like it. You got to show up when things aren't right. You got to show up. You got to show up no matter what. You have to show up, because that's 80% of the battle right there. Like you said, being in the right place at the right time. It doesn't matter what time it is. If you're in the place, it is the right time. As long as you're in the right place, it is the right time. It's always the right time. Yeah. So
network.
But listen,
always
man.
Network.
Yep. We're out. That's how we met. Showing up. Yep. We're in the right place at the right time. Same place at the same time. Listen, was it Chris Nady 80? You know who that is?
Yeah.
Who's Chris?
That's Jim McMahon.
Is that Chris Nady 80? He said, "There's my guys." Monique Deenan. Monique Deenan's in the house. Monique Deenan. The Back It Up Binge podcast is in the house. Skull. This Joe Harris. This guy. I grew up with this guy. We call him Skull Murphy. That's his name. That's my name. That's what we call him. His name is Joe Harris. We call him Skull Murphy. Serena's in the house. Eagle Shirley's in the house. Jen's in the house. Ed Crawley's in the house. Who else? Billy Bell's in the house. Sean Young is still in the house. Back It Up Binge podcast. I said that already. My mom's in the house. Michelle Cephas is in the house. We got a whole house full of folk. Listen, brother, we're out of time. I'm sorry. I told you we weren't going to get through everything tonight, but we're just going to have you back on. And you know when I'm going to have you back on? I'm going to have you back on in the middle of the season when we're doing this podcast, because by then Vetted will have launched and we're going to be off the chain. We got some surprises for all of you all. It's going to be some good stuff coming up. But, man, I appreciate you, because, you know, the whole Vetted thing, the Vetted wasn't your idea, but doing Vetted at the locker room in Reading at Barry, the Hatchet's place, that was your idea. So thank you very much, because it's about to be on and popping, y'all. On and popping.
Great.
But what's your message for the people before we go? What all that you've been through? I mean, you've Okinawan, baseball, karate, pizza places. You've been not homeless, but you had, and then you lost it all. Then you built yourself back up. You're acting, sitting next to Sylvester Stallone. I mean, that's just a pendulum, Doc, that is a book. It's a book you should write, and you're not done yet. You're still ascending. You're still going up. You're still getting better. You're still evolving. What's your message to the people, real quick?
First of all, there's a script being written, and I'd love to have you as part of that too. So I got a role for you in that. But my message is,
I'm gonna be the angry black man. I'm gonna be the angry black man.
Nah. You're gonna be like a brother to me.
Okay, I can still be the angry black man.
My message is we've all been through things, and we're going to continue being through things. But you just got to keep moving forward. You know what I mean? Somebody would have told me when I was going through all that I'd be sitting on the Irving Fryar show. Man, I would have laughed. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, okay. So I'm blessed. I'm blessed because of the people in my circle. Keep it small, keep it positive, but keep moving forward. That's what I have, man. Just keep moving forward.
Quitting is not an option. Yep.
No.
Yep.
Nope.
Quitting is not an option. Serena said, "Thank you, Scott. See you at the locker room."
Absolutely. I'll see you tomorrow, Serena. Hopefully I'll see you.
He's going to be at the game tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. This was big. Thank you for taking the time out to be here at the Fryar Place. This is where the conversations are fire. And for sure enough, today's conversation was just that. You dropped some nuggets on us. You gave us some insight, some wisdom, and you put some fight back in us too. You gave us some fight because that's what you needed to do to keep moving forward, to battle the situation you were in, to overcome, take care of your children, and to be who you are today, man. Good friend, a good man. I got to check your acting skills out. I'm not sure what kind of actor you are. Do they give you silent roles or are you saying something?
Both.
Both? Okay.
I think right now I'm grabbing anything, man. We just wrapped up HBO Task Force with Mark Ruffalo. We just wrapped that last Friday, so that's why I'm so busy.
Rick Riley's in the house. Okay, Rick Riley.
Do I have time to ask you a real quick question?
You want to ask me a question?
Yeah, real quick.
Uh-oh. This is my show. This is not your show.
I know.
I ask the questions around here.
I've been dying to ask you this question.
I ask the questions around here. You don't ask the question. What do you want to ask me?
What do you think of the new wide receiver they got? The Eagles, the trade.
Man, I'll be on another 15 minutes talking about him. I'll tell you what later on tonight, I'll be on Fox 29 on their podcast at 11:30. I'll be on talking about it then.
Okay.
but I think it's a good thing. It's a void that the Eagles have had that we have not really talked about. You know, we talk about a lot of stuff, you know, the sports shows and, you know, ESPN and they talk about a lot, but you don't hear anybody talking about the void that exists or that existed in that third wide receiver spot for the Eagles. I believe they've done enough. I mean, he's not A.J. Brown. He's not Devontae Smith, but he is enough to come in, and he was a first-round draft choice 2 years ago, 16th pick in the draft. So he's enough to fill in if one of those two cats go down.
Okay.
Because he was a starter at Washington. So Dotson's his name. And
you heard what Brian Mitchell said about him?
Brian Mitchell said that he wasn't fighting, he wasn't competing, he wasn't showing the type of energy that he needed to show in training camp because, you know, he wasn't going with the starters. They dropped him down the second team. And I guess, you know, from whatever Brian Mitchell saw, he didn't see the fight that I guess they wanted to see out of him for that. And that could be for a number of reasons. Then also, you know, I guess the coaches dropped him down to second team because last year, you know, his rookie year, he did a great job. You know, he caught 7 touchdowns. And in those 2 years, last year and the year before, he had over 1,000 yards. So he can play. He's a first-round draft choice. He can play. Yeah. Something happened. And, you know, when a guy starts dropping balls, I guess he dropped some balls last year and they weren't happy with him. When a receiver of that caliber starts dropping balls, it has nothing to do with his physical ability. It has to do with a mental state. There's something going on in his mind. So coming to the Eagles, that's got to be a weight off of his shoulders. That's got to be a positive energy that now he's engulfed in. The pressure is not all on him because guess what? I got A.J. Brown next to me. I got Devontae Smith next to me. So, wow, I can, you know, all I got to do is just fill in. And he's got the talent to do that. So I think he's an upgrade from all the other receivers we had. I think Britton Covey was doing a lot of stuff in the last few days of training camp because I think they were trying to prep him to maybe be the third receiver. But unless he was a Walker type guy, what's Walker? You know, Walker. What was it? Yeah, Walker. What was his name?
Welker.
Welker, yes, Wes Welker that the Patriots had. Maybe they were trying to do something like that with Britton, but I don't think that was going to work. So I think it's an upgrade from what was there, sitting there in the third receiver position, and we'll see. We'll see how fast he can pick up the offense. And see how fast he can make a difference. But I think it's a good decision.
I agree.
Yeah, I think it's a good decision.
Well, thank you.
See, we talked another 5 minutes. Get off my show, man. All right, I appreciate you, bro. All right,
thank you.
Thank you very much, and tell Jen I said hi, and that Serena said hi, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, brother.
All right.
All right. God bless you.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
That's my dude right there. you, Irving, you are making Santa a better fan. Santa? Oh, what's going on? Who's this? Shirley. Oh, I'm sorry. That's Eagle Shirley. Thank you, Eagle Shirley. She said, great show, guys. Listen, that's what it's about. It's about having conversations about life and the challenges that we all face, that we all deal with. Nobody escapes challenges. Nobody escapes tribulations or troubles in your life. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter. I mean, the Bible says we shall have tribulation, but we're supposed to be of good cheer because our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, has overcome the world. We're going to have it like that. But the answer to the question, or the answer to the dilemma, is to keep moving forward, keep fighting, to never give up, to never quit. It's not over till God says it's over. Jen, God bless you. Good to see you. Rick Riley, Eagle Shirley's in the house. Ed Crawley. Serena, love you, sweetheart. Sean Young. Keith Reynolds, what's going on, Keith? Billy Bell's in the house. Peter Zook is in the house. That's Stolfus Structures. Yeah, what's going on, my man? Sean Young. Who else? PJ. PJ's in the house. What's going on, PJ? What? I didn't see you, man. When'd you sneak in here? Good to see you, brother. Chris Nady 80. Monique Deneen. The Back It Up Binge Podcast. Joseph Harris is in the house. Ooh, we got a lot of folk watching tonight. That's good. Thanks for joining us, everybody. That's Sean Young. I'm trying to shout everybody out before I get off of here. Back It Up Binge Podcast is in the house. Mama's in the house. My mother's in the house. And Michelle Cephas is in the house, y'all. We'll be back next week. Same thing, y'all. We're going to do the same thing. Have another great guest with another great story to be encouraging to those of us who may be going through, who may be dealing with certain situations. We're going to have a great conversation, and the conversation is going to be fire. All right? Listen, love y'all. Thank all of you. I shouted you out for supporting the Fryar Place. We'll be back next week, 6 p.m. Next month in September, let me say this now, our live show at the Cigar Code will not be the first Friday of the month. It will actually be the third Friday of the month. I believe that's September 20th, okay? And it'll be from 6 to 7. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to have one of the current Eagles players on the live show, all right? So keep your ears open, keep your eyes open. We'll be posting the time and the date, and, it's going to be 6 to 7. But who it's going to be, we don't know yet. We just know it's going to happen. We've got the connection, and we'll let you know ahead of time. Make sure we give you at least a week advance notice. But until then, we'll be in the studio. We'll be in the studio right here next week, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. with another great guest. Y'all, until then, listen, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, because you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow. God bless you. Love you. See you next week. Peace.